Hello. This is the Total Drama Revenge of the Island character tier list, or my Total Drama Revenge of the Island character tier list. If you're when you're watching this or when I'm uploading this, it might be before the main comprehensive roast of Total Drama Revenge of the Island comes out. Mostly because while I'm recording this, it's like 3 p.m. May 29th or something. It's hard to get stuff done at 3 p.m. I never want to do anything at 3 p.m., but I am doing something at 3 p.m. right now, so I'm proud of myself. But anyway, I might release this early. I used to release these tier list videos in tandem with the main videos, but I don't know, this time around, I just want to get more stuff out there, so I might just drop it today. I don't know. You guys know, I assume, you're watching this video. I'm looking at myself. I'm not looking at the camera. Hi. And yeah, so anyway, let's get to the content. So this tier list, it's just going to be of the contestants in Total Drama Revenge of the Island, judging purely based off of their performance in Total Drama Revenge of the Island, or how they were as characters. I'm not including Chris and Chef. I'm only doing contestants, and I'm also not including Mike's alternate personalities, even though I theoretically can rank veto or whatever. It's just, I don't know. I think I kind of can see them all as the same package. Yeah, I took notes. I usually don't take notes, but I took notes this time around. Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll just start. So the first thing we have is Stacy. Well, people don't usually like Stacy. A lot of people hate Stacy. And it's pretty easy to not like Stacy. It's very hard to like Stacy, really. Because, well, first of all, I mean, she's just a nothing character. She's an early boot. She's so clearly not supposed to be taken seriously. She's supposed to kind of be unlikable. And because of that, she's definitely in one of these two. For sure. Without even a little bit of a doubt. But I'm gonna keep her just in this tier, which is, I guess, D tier, what D tier was in the previous video, because I'm giving them names now just to kind of get a better explanation of things. Yeah, I'm gonna say she's kind of she's a D. I don't want to put her as insufferable because what I think of as an insufferable character is someone that I see no positive to. I mean, that's not the best way of putting it. An insufferable character to me is insufferable. I'm unhappy whenever I see them. Stacy is just kind of not that annoying to me, or not. She doesn't ruin anything for me. The only insufferable character I can think of immediately is Sugar. I don't like Sugar. Sugar's definitely somewhere down here. Stacy, honestly, it's she's too much of a nothing character to really dislike this much. So I'm just putting her in unlikable. Her whole gimmick, she's saying her ancestors, her parents or grandparents invented everything. It's just it's so weird. It's just not entertaining or funny to me. It's just a weird thing. I see no. It's just not. It's just nothing to me. It's just not enjoyable. A little bit of secondhand embarrassment when it comes to Stacy, but not that much. So she's unlikable. Next up is Brick. I'm putting Brick up with pretty great. Crap. Pretty great. Brick is a pretty likable character. I think, the fact that he's this military guy, it's definitely a good idea for a total drama character. And, I think he plays off of Joe really well. Just because, he and Joe are both competitive. They're both pretty physically gifted, but they have very different ethics. So I think Brick, his back and forth with Joe is probably one of the more entertaining relationships or dynamics in the show. I mean, the season, at least the season. I don't know about the show, but, and he plays a good game. The only thing I don't really like is a lot of the, humor surrounding him. I was he's a little bit too much of a punching bag for my personal tastes. But especially the pee jokes. It's okay. You peed your pants, dude. He peed his pants. Okay. But yeah, no, I think Brick's still pretty enjoyable. He's got a heart of gold, and I think what I will say, I think if there's any character that really would have benefited from another season and a second wind it would be Brick. I think Brick would theoretically like do so well, or have a lot of potential for like a second season where he like does a lot better. But I don't know that's ever gonna happen, unfortunately. All right, next up we got B. B is decent and offensive. I actually don't really like. I don't really have complaints with B, really. I think he's just kind of a gimmick character, not a very serious, not a very important character. But you know, I think the silent like Ferb thing, like Ferb from Phineas and Ferb, you know, B is very similar to Ferb because he doesn't talk and he makes gadgets. Um, I mean, I can't really put him that very high because he's just kind of not a very important character, but he's not bad. He's you know, he's a little fun for what he is. Yeah, you know, he's B. Up next we've got Cameron. I'm putting Cameron pretty great. By the way, I'm not really ranking these. Like, I don't really like this is negligible. I'm not really thinking about this too much. So whether I'd say I probably like Cameron a little more than Brick, but they're pretty even actually. Anyway, Cameron. I think Cameron gets the fundamentals down. He's a very good like central character for the season. I mean, he's one of the finalists. In my opinion, I definitely think his finale, him winning, his winning is a lot better for like narratively than Lightning winning. Um, but yeah, I think Cameron, you know, the whole like scrawny bubble boy kind of faces his fears, becomes stronger or whatever. I think that's a really good, just kind of like it's. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's like super novel, but it's a good arc. It frames the season pretty well. It's easy to root for Cameron. I think that's why I like him a lot. But I think what I don't like about Cameron, I'm not really keen on the humor involving him. I think it's often very kind of like flat and repetitive. Just, oh, okay, he's really weak. He can't carry basic things. He's very light. It just kind of, I don't know, never did much for me. And also, he has this weird thing. And this is honestly a thing with the season as a whole. The dialogue in this season is definitely like a step down from the seasons before it. He like says very obvious things like out loud. I feel like I'm watching a kids show, something like a very not like a tween show, like a show for like really little kids. This is a flashlight. This will come in handy. He says stuff like that a lot, and it always kind of like it wasn't to my liking. I don't want to be like too like nasty about it, but yeah, no, it wasn't. It kind of like I was never too big a fan, but I'd still say he's a great character. I think he's just likable, I guess. It's fun. It's easy to root for like the nerd, I guess. You know, I don't know. Okay, Dakota's next. Decent, inoffensive. I feel like Dakota could have been a better character, and this is like a big thing about the fact that the season is 13 episodes. There's hints of Dakota having like some interesting character traits. You know, the fact that she seems to be like really insecure. That kind of piqued my interest. I thought that could have been something that was expanded on a little bit more, but you know, most of what we get of her is just kind of jokes, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's like there's like little nuggets of information throughout the show, and it adds up to maybe like a minute of like time in the like the show where like she seems to be a lot deeper than just kind of like being a daddy's girl, rich daddy's girl or whatever. And it's kind of a shame. I really wish Dakota had more time to shine. And I wish most of the cast had more time to shine. I think that's definitely 13 episodes. The show struggles a lot with 13 episodes, I think. But I think what she had with Sam was sweet. Didn't overstay its welcome. Dakota Zoid, I have mixed feelings. I mean, I've always the nuclear waste stuff. I go back and forth on it. I think Dakota Zoid is cool. It's very visually interesting, but I don't know. I just don't really like. I think like at my core, I've always preferred the very like simplistic kind of like I don't want to say realistic. The show's not realistic, but it's very low fantasy in the first season. Like the only fantasy thing is that the animals are like smart. Like you see bears doing human things. It's a lot. It got a little crazy in the later seasons. Like now characters are turning into like gigantic like monsters or whatever. Um, it's not a big deal though. So yeah, Dakota, decent and offensive. I didn't like the humor that much, but yeah, I feel like there's like more to her that I wish was like kind of like expanded on. Actually, I'm gonna say good slash decent slash inoffensive. I know it's like kind of a wordy thing. I don't think Dakota's a bad character. I wouldn't even say she's like just like mediocre. I think she's good. I mean, there's nothing that like I think she adds to the season, does plays a role. I like the intern stuff. Doesn't like really do so much for me, but I think she's totally fine. I'm gonna get a swig of water. All right, I'm cutting out the last 3 minutes because I kind of went on a weird tangent. Next up is Mike. Mike is a great character. I don't want to touch upon like the details and the debate of how dissociative identity disorder should be portrayed in like television and media in general, because that's definitely a topic. I don't really feel like I have anything good to add to that topic, but I'll be honest and say that I enjoy Mike as a character. So I think he's a great character. I think despite the fact that he's like an oddball or whatever, like he's worried about Zoe thinking he's an oddball. He's like a really good kind of like straight man in the show, despite the fact that he, has all these like weird alternate personalities. But yeah, no, I think Mike's pretty fun. I think he's definitely entertaining. I love his friendship with Cam. I love the episode where he gets eliminated. I think Grand Chef Otto is one of the better episodes in the season. But yeah, I don't want to like go too in depth. I kind of was. I cut out like 4 minutes of this video because I like started talking about Mike, and I like didn't stop because I was like really nervous about people getting mad at me when it comes to talking about dissociative identity disorder. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if people get like really passionate about his portrayal in season 4, but I've seen a lot of people talk about All Stars and how he's handled in All Stars. It's a pretty touchy subject. So, oh God, if I ever review that season, that's gonna be I'm gonna have to like I'm gonna have trouble kind of touching upon that because I'm not trying to like get in fights. But anyway, next up is Lightning. I used to not when I first watched the season when I was a kid, I did not like Lightning, and it's because I think like at a surface level, I don't like the dumb jock character. It's just not much for me. It doesn't do much for me. I mean I mean of all the humor involving Lightning, the like whenever he's like so stupid he can't like spell a word. He can't spell the word meat or something. He thinks steak comes from trees. Like that has never done anything for me. But saying "sha" before everything does do something for me. I think Lightning's grown on me a lot, and I definitely said this, or I'm definitely going to say this in the Revenge of the Island roast. I found even though it's just a little bit, I think in the finale where he brings up his father, or you see his father, that scene alone made me like Lightning so much more. He's actually one of my favorites in the season, despite me not liking him at all as a kid. And I think a big part of it is just because, his competitiveness, you kind of see where it comes from. It's like potentially because of his father, or his desire to impress, or kind of like having an obstructed relationship with his father. And that kind of goes into what I was saying, is that there's a lot of like interesting tidbits of information about characters in Revenge of the Island that I wish kind of got more spotlight. Because a lot of these characters, most of the time, they're just kind of like in their gimmick. They're just kind of like being the nerdy kind of like bubble boy or the kind of daddy's girl. But there's occasional bits where you kind of get like a decent amount of depth. So I kind of wish we got a little bit more of that. Is there anything else I wanted to say about Lightning? Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's just, his confidence is fun. He's funny. I think Lightning's pretty great, despite not liking him as a kid. Next up, we have Anne Maria, and this is not, I don't actually know what people think of Anne Maria. I'm putting her in B, or great, pretty great. I think she's a pretty great character. And it's interesting that I say that because I think a lot of people, you wouldn't expect Anne Maria to be a good character. Oh, she's like Snooki. There's actually a lot of celebrity kind of like parody characters in this season. I mean, Dakota is like of Paris Hilton. I'm pretty sure Sam is supposed to be Seth Rogen, I think. I might be misremembering. And then Joe isn't really a celebrity parody, but she is a parody of, I'm like turning this light on, it keeps like going black. She's a parody of, I think, the Coach character from Glee, along with Dakota being a parody of Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter. But anyway, going back to Anne Maria. I mean, like in so many ways, Anne Maria is like a similar kind of idea to Sugar. And I said earlier, I don't like Sugar. I don't like Sugar at all. Anne Maria, I quite like. And I think she's just, I mean, to do a parody of Snooki, they could have done it so much worse. I think, honestly, Anne Maria, she's so funny. Like, genuinely so funny. Um, I think like there's not a lot of wit in this season's dialogue, but Anne Maria says a lot of really funny stuff. And there's just so many moments with her where I just thought it was hilarious. I love, like, especially in the earlier parts of the season where Joe would, like, I think it was mostly an Ice Ice Baby. Joe would, like, intentionally anger her just to get her to participate in challenges, and she'd end up being, like, really good at them. Anne Marie is just, like, surprisingly likable. I like Anne Marie a lot, so yeah, I'm giving her pretty great. Yeah. Okay, we got Dawn. Dawn is, oh god, this video is so long. Okay, what are we in? Like probably like 15 minutes. Dawn is fantastic. My favorite character in the season, and she's not even like that important of a character, but I think like she's just such a good gimmick character. Like she's not like a very serious character that frames the season, but aura reading is fun. I think she just says interesting things a lot of the time. I love her dynamic with Scott. Dawn and Scott are fun together. I really like the way she kind of like foreshadowed Mike having MPD or DID in I think the 5th episode, the one that she gets eliminated in. That's like the 5th or 6th, I'm pretty sure. To Zoe. Yeah, I mean, she's not a very important character, but like there's not a moment of like Dawn that I don't like. So, yeah, no, Dawn's great. Well, next up we got Sam. Sam is you know, the thing about Sam is that the gamer shtick is just not that well done. Like I really just don't think it is. It's so like it's so not written by someone who plays video games. He's like, "Oh, I'm an awesome gamer, dude. This is my gamer dream." And like the enjoyment you can get out of him saying stuff like that isn't really, it's not like the writing being witty, it's the writing being so clunky it's funny nowadays. Especially because like the whole gamers rise up meme got big like 4 or 5 years ago. Like that's like a thing now. Like people like enjoy joking about this like very stock basic surface level like gaming parody stuff. And Sam kind of fits into that for like all the wrong reasons. Like I don't think it was intentional. Like I think it's really supposed to be a parody of gamers, and it's not a good parody of gamers. Or it's not definitely not an accurate one. But I think just because it's so like stupid, you can kind of enjoy it. That being said, I think his, as I said, his relationship with Dakota's cute, not super like. It's I mean it's kind of funny. I mean I don't know, like he's this nerdy like disgusting person. I don't say disgusting, it's kind of mean. He's kind of a nerd. He gets the like really rich kind of preppy girl. It's fun. But yeah, I mean so much of the gamer humor just does not do anything for me. It's like it's goofy. But okay, who's next? I'm not, as I said, I'm not doing Mike's separate personalities. Svetlana's right here. I was like looking for Svetlana. All right, we got 3 more. Joe. Joe's definitely pretty great. She's probably my second favorite character in the season, even though I was like saying like the horizontal order doesn't matter, but I just want to put Joe right below Dawn. I didn't like Joe as a kid. Not as much as I didn't like Lightning, but yeah, no, I love Joe now. She's awesome. Like I think Joe is just, she's not the main villain, but she's definitely like a better villain than Scott is, to be honest. And I think it's just because like she's so domineering and it's fun to see her just kind of like rule the game. She runs stuff, she tricks people, she kind of like makes people her little minions, and it works pretty well. I love her relationship with Cameron. I love her back and forth with Cameron. It's just, I mean, it's really like probably one of the best kind of like back and like just dynamics in the whole season. Definitely season, maybe even series. Cameron eventually gets back at her at the end, but she kind of keeps going back and forth with him. She's like, she's mean to him, but she uses him when she can. Yeah, Joe's fun to watch. And yeah, you know, honestly, if there's any character, I said this about Brick. I think Brick would have really benefited from another season. Joe did get another season. She didn't really play a role in All Stars, but I genuinely think like Joe could have had like a really, really good like redemption, not redemption. I guess Joe could have had what Heather had. I think Joe could have like come back and done even better and like learn from her mistakes. And Joe could have been like a great like anti-hero character. but we never really got that opportunity, unfortunately. But you know, what are you gonna do? Okay, Scott. Scott, I was torn between C and B because the thing about Scott is that I'm giving him B. I think I'm giving him great because I think there's a lot to like about Scott. The villainy isn't that well done. I'm gonna be honest, or at least in my opinion. Because I mean, I think the whole throwing challenges thing, it's a nod to Russell Hantz from Survivor and the immunity idol thing. It's fun, but there's like so many things. Like whenever Scott lies, you can't take it seriously. Um, and I guess that's kind of part of the fun, but I don't know. I like having villainous characters that are you can kind of like really see the spark in. Like Heather, like for example Heather. I always compare characters to Heather because Heather's really like a model. She's like this like nasty teenager. I guess you could. She's funny too. Scott's definitely funny. I just don't think he's like as iconic or whatever of an antagonist. What else did I write? I didn't even remember. I wasn't even reading. I will say of like all his villainy, I didn't think the throwing challenge. I mean, there are like moments in the season where he throws challenges, and like if he didn't throw those challenges, he would have logically made it like probably in the final three, maybe even finalist. Like he should not have thrown the Treasure Island episode. Like that wasted his immunity idol first of all. And after that he kind of like broke his trust with Zoe that he was kind of like creating, I guess. And he wasn't able to save himself in the final four. He could have saved himself in the final four, that's the thing. So it's always kind of like, oh, the whole throwing challenges thing, it's not like very it makes for, I think it does make for an interesting kind of like dynamic, or not dynamic. It makes things interesting. It's an interesting kind of like twist, but it's just not that like, it's not really like fun. He's not a fun villain to watch, at least as a villain. I think Scott's funny though. I think like there's just like the nastiness of Scott grew on me a lot. I love his back and forth with Fang. I didn't like it at first, but I think that's just me kind of like having mixed feelings about the toxic waste. And if you let that go, the thing with Fang is fun. With the exception, I don't like the chair thing. I don't like him being like doing the whole like Star Trek Captain Pike. I think that's the name of the character. I don't like that at the end of the season. But slapstick with him is good. I just think he's a fun. He's not like a serious antagonist to me, except for episode 9 when he's blackmailing Mike. I think that was like an interesting antagonist role he played, but that was kind of like it in my opinion. But you know, I like Scott a lot. I think he's funny. So you know, I'm complaining more than I should. Last up is Zoe, and I'm like torn between C and B. I'm gonna give her a B. I think she's. I mean, I think she's just. The season wouldn't be the season without Zoe. She's just kind of like, I don't want to say bland, because I think there is like a personality. It's just not a very It's a very low key personality. She's just kind of like, she plays off of Mike. She's not supposed to be this like zany character like Anne Maria is, for example. And that because of that, I think she's not a favorite of mine. I'd say she's a good character. She's a great character even. She's just not one of my favorites, and I almost can put her in C because of that. But I think that's a little harsher than it needs to be, because I think she plays an important role. I honestly I do like her kind of transformation towards the end of the season. I like her friendship with Cam and Mike a lot. So yeah, Zoe. I don't have much to say about her, but you know, whatever. And yeah, that's it. You know, for all the complaints people make about Revenge of the Island, one thing I will say to its credit is that like almost every character plays a real role in it, with the exception of B and Stacy. Dakota plays a role. Like every character has like a thing that happens to them of interest. That's like at least a little bit interesting. And you can't. I mean, honestly, even some like you can't really say that about Island. I mean, Island has a lot of like. Oh, excuse me. That's not your phone. That's my phone. Island has a lot of kind of like has a few kind of just like sort of nothing characters, to be honest. There's really, I think Revenge of the Island, like even characters that were booted early, like Dakota, she kind of comes back in a way. I would say the characters are surprisingly involved, like all of them, with a couple exceptions. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. This was a little tier list video I made. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'll see you guys around.